When it comes to attracting women, the number one most important thing that you can do is develop the skill of doing things even when you don't want to do them.
Kill me! Can't do it. Alright. You're very beautiful.
Okay, awful tonality, awful body language. I'm super uncomfortable, but I forced myself to do it. And I thought this was a perfect time to make this video because I do not want to be making this video. My anxiety level is really high. I can go into that in a separate video, but recently my anxiety levels have been a lot higher than normal. And I've had multiple panic attacks. And do I want to be making a video right now with my level of anxiety when I'm freaking out? No, absolutely do not. But I know that doing this, even though I don't want to, is what's going to develop the skill that it's not just about attracting women, to be completely honest, but it's going to develop the skill that will allow me to achieve every single goal that I have, the ability to do things that you don't want to do. And if you really think about it, everyone who is unsuccessful in any area of life, what do they have in common? They don't do uncomfortable things. They look for the comfortable way out. That's true for physical fitness. It's true for making money. It's true for dating. It's true for anything. The more that you avoid the things you don't want to do, the more you're not going to succeed. Now, we all have an idea of this. We're all familiar with the concept, but it's very easy to rationalize and argue away from it and look for, to find any way we can excuse, okay, well, we'll find a way to make us only do it to want to do the hard things more, and so I'll do it when I want to do it, but I won't do it if I don't want to do it. That's the kind of mind games we'll play. And I recently came across a podcast with the neuroscientist Andrew Huberman where he talks about, and I'm not going to say this perfect, there's an area of the brain called the mid-cingulate anterior cortex, something like that.
Most people don't know this, but there's a brain structure called the anterior mid-cingulate cortex. But what's interesting about this brain area is there are now a lot of data in humans, not some mouse study, showing that when people do something they don't want to do, like add 3 hours of exercise per day or per week, or when people who are trying to diet and lose weight resist eating something.
Right.
When people do anything that they, and this is the important part, that they don't want to do.
Right.
It's not about adding more work, it's about adding more work that you don't want to do.
Yes.
This brain area gets bigger. In many ways, scientists are starting to think of the anterior mid-cingulate cortex not just as one of the seats of willpower,
Right.
but perhaps actually the seat of the will to live.
What was really interesting about this is that this brain area, he even compares it to the part of your brain that is associated with the will to live, to make it really intense. But in a more general term, it is an area of the brain that is strengthened the more you do things that you don't want to do. And there's a lot of scientific research that has shown this. And people who do things that are good for them, so people who achieve things like losing weight, who work out regularly, who do the kinds of things that most people don't want to do, it actually increases the size of this part of the brain. And naturally, for most people, it shrinks with age. And it shrinks more and more over time unless you're doing things that you don't want to do. Now, the key is, it's not just doing something that's hard, because if you actually want to do something that's hard, that doesn't really count, right? So if I wanted to make this video, even though talking to a camera is awkward for a lot of people, but I'm enjoying it, that's not going to grow this area of my brain. That's not going to strengthen it. It's only when you actually don't want to do something that it becomes stronger. It's the David Goggins part of the brain, basically. If you don't know him, his whole mindset is about doing things even if they suck, right? Doing things that make you extremely uncomfortable. He's got a lot of powerful stories about doing that in his own life. And that's something I'm embracing right now. I don't want to make this video, but I have found, and this goes along with all the research, but I have found that the more you do things when you don't want to do them, the more that becomes your default gear. And also, the more you experience flow states, the more your overall stress level reduces, the more resilient you become, and really everything in life just gets better. And it is by doing temporarily, whenever you have an opportunity, you know there's something you should do, but you feel that resistance, you feel that I don't want to do it. like I did before making this video, but you do it anyway, that's where you make the most progress. That is your true north. That is the thing you should be looking for opportunities to do. And I'm not saying you should expect to be perfect and every time you feel resistance, you overcome it. But the more you do that, the more this area of your brain grows, but also all the side effects of building willpower, building discipline, of growing your self-esteem, of being able to fight things like stress and anxiety more effectively, and also just feeling proud of yourself, the will to live strengthens. And that is how you get there. And the reason this is associated with pickup is because approaching women, is something that almost everyone at first does not want to do. There is a lot of resistance to it. And that's why so many people will watch videos, channels like mine, and I tell you, you need to be approaching women. If you're not getting more options, nothing's going to happen. You need to overcome your fear you need to overcome your approach anxiety. You need to face that. Very easy to rationalize out of that. But if you do that, you won't make progress. It is going to be something that is difficult, that you're going to have resistance to. But when you embrace that and you accept that that is part of the process, that's when you are no longer controlled by your limiting beliefs, by your emotions, by your rationalizations. That's when you're able to start making genuine progress. And the beautiful thing about this is every time that you do that, every time that you go out when you didn't want to go out, or you approach a girl when you didn't want to approach, or you ask a girl out, or whatever the level is that causes you to feel resistance, that's getting out of your comfort zone, as soon as you do that, your comfort zone expands. What is easy for you expands. So at first, just going out might be overwhelming, but later it might get to a point where to actually feel resistance, it's like you'd have to approach a couple that are making out on the dance floor. Anything else is easy. And at that point, you're able to just have fun, express yourself, enjoy going out, and it's something that becomes autotelic, which means something that is enjoyable for its own sake. But in order to, I'm just looking at the time, but anyway, in order to get to that point, it is necessary that you adopt a mindset that stress, anxiety, resistance, they are not bad. Basically, if you do not lean into those things, you're going to have the greater level of stress, anxiety, and resistance that is associated with avoidance. It is associated with knowing that you're not doing the things you could do to achieve your goals. You are hit with the what if. What if I actually tried? Why am I being such a bitch? I have this idea, but I'm not acting on it. And of course, you know that you're not getting the results that you want, right? If it's in dating, you know you're not getting any dates and you're not doing anything about it. That is going to affect your self-esteem. And this applies for any area of your life, but subconsciously, you don't have to admit it to yourself. Subconsciously, you know that you're not taking action. You know that you're not doing your best. You know you're not giving it 10 out of 10. You know that you're probably giving it like 1 or 2 out of 10, and you're not really taking any action at all. And that stress is so much worse. I've experienced it as much as anyone, but it is so much worse, so much more toxic. It drags your life down, whereas the stress of doing what you don't want to do, like me making this video right now, that is what pulls your life up onto an upward spiral. It is the more you do those things that life feels like it's worth living, that you actually enjoy life, that you're able to experience flow states, that you get out of your mind, that you get into the moment and are able to be just present and to enjoy things for their own sake. But the more that you're avoiding, the more that you're resisting stress, and it sucks that we live in a world that is designed to make us do that. Our phones are designed to make us do that. Every app that is popular are the apps that are the best at getting you to avoid stress, to get that little dopamine hit of comfort. That is the world we live in, and you can just accept that and just accept that the part of your brain that is considered the will to live, that part will shrink more and more and more as you do that. Or you can fight against it and deal with the stress of taking action and deal with the stress of doing things that you don't want to do. And you'll find that then everything in your life gets better. And eventually anything that you didn't want to do becomes easy. It becomes enjoyable, right? There was a period where I was making videos every day and I was able to do it in one take without stuttering. I enjoyed it. But now that I've kind of, taken a little break, made some videos here and there. Now that I've been less consistent for a period of time, it's significantly harder, right? Now it's become something that's stressful because I've been avoiding it for several months. But the more you do something that you have resistance to, the momentum starts to make it enjoyable. It starts to make it fun. It starts to make it something that you look forward to. But the only way to get there, the only way to experience that, is to embrace that part of the process is always going to be doing it when you don't want to do it. And that's how you get into a flow state. That's how you get to the next level. And that's how you will find success.